All aboard for a spine-tingling voyage into the supernatural. This week, we're diving deep into the chilling waters of the 2002 horror thriller Ghost Ship.
Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're talking about the 2002 horror classic Ghost Ship. But before we dive in, let's get into some
housekeeping.
If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's a few ways that you can.
Please leave us reviews and rate us. But rate us 5 stars. Please don't rate us. If you feel like it's less than 5, don't bother. Please and thank you. Anywhere you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser. Yeah. And reviews always make us smile. And then we most of the time read them on the pod. So
yes, we do have one. This is super sweet. From Atwoods Mariano. Loved your notebook episode. I recently came across your 20th anniversary notebook episode as someone who loves the movie and absolutely loved your discussion/commentary. I thought you girls were hilarious and I was laughing so hard. I love movie podcasts that focus on movies from the 90s and 2000s. So happy to have found yours. And we're so happy you found us too.
Welcome. Stay a while.
And if you're feeling generous, please head to our Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com/no more late fees and buy us a virtual cup of coffee. It fuels our podcasting journey.
It does. Cheers. And we have merch. Are you getting ready for Halloween? Don't forget to check out our merch in our Amazon store with ideas for the perfect nostalgic costume. You can find us at www.amazon.com/shop/no more late fees podcast, or the link will be in the show notes for y'all.
Well, we're not alone on this ghostly voyage this week. We have a special guest returning. Our wonderful friend Anwar has jumped back aboard with us. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Join us on this pleasure cruise.
Yeah.
For those of you wanting to know more about Anwar, make sure you go back and check out our past episodes of Demon Knight, Deliver Us from Eva, and Killjoy. Plus, you can dive into our list of scary-ass horror kids with us during our bonus episode later this week.
All right, let's get on to Ghost Ship. So the movie is about a salvage crew that discovers an abandoned luxury liner, Antonia Graza, which is floating adrift in the Bering Sea. But what begins as a lucrative opportunity soon turns into a nightmare as they uncover horrifying secrets and ghostly entities aboard the haunted ship. The movie stars Julianna Margulies, Gabriel Byrne, Ron Eldard, Desmond Harrington, Isaiah Washington, and Emily Browning. The movie was directed by Steve Beck and was written by Mark Hanlon and John Pogue. You can currently watch it for free with a free trial on Philo, which I think is like AMC's platform. If not, you can rent it on Amazon for like $3 or $4. But before we get started, let's get into our ratings rewind.
You know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best, would play and repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
And same-day rental.
Trash. I would say throw it in the ocean, but we don't want to litter here.
Yeah. Agreed. So, Anwar, what is your Y2K rating of Ghost Ship, considering it was one of your employee picks?
Well, in a very 2002, possibly 2003 DVD brain, I would say this was a 5. day rental. Like I would watch it again. I don't know if I did watch it again, but I wanted to.
I remember not hating it. I like horror. I like anytime anyone is sliced and diced. It's my favorite. And they had a really cool opening scene with that. So I'll give it a 5-day rental. I have not seen it since my Y2K self, but I enjoyed it when I watched it.
As for me, you guys might be shocked about this, but I've never seen it.
Not surprised at all. You're just not one with the spooky.
No, I'm spooky light. Very spooky light.
You're Halloween Town.
For the budget, we had $20 million and it made $68.3 million. I don't get it, but okay. It opened number 3 at the box office with over $11 million. And it couldn't make it to the top because Jackass the movie dominated the cinema at the time.
Well, back then people went to the theaters to see things more often anyway. So like
That's
you just
true.
go see it just to like try it out. And I think something like Ghost Ship, it made a lot of money when it came out in comparison to probably what it would do today at least.
Yeah.
Because there was a horror movie every week and it was just
Right.
like, yeah, let's go see the one that's out.
Yeah.
And I think like, there's something exciting about like a movie like this existing because it has a $20 million budget. It's not the biggest. It's not low, but it's not the biggest. It was that mid-budget. None of these actors would have been in this movie today.
Yeah.
Because they would
No.
need somebody to get the people in, or at least they would think they would.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it's a very time capsule movie in that regard.
100%.
Yeah.
Washed up stars. I have my Byrne book, Jackie.
Oh, yes.
Ready.
Okay.
Ready.
So-
So if you have... Go ahead.
Do you want me to explain the burn back? So
Yeah.
last episode we did was Mean Girls. Happy October 3rd. That's when we're recording this. And so Danielle happened to show that she had her burn book on her desk and it was empty. And so we've started now a no more late fees burn book where everything we hate just goes into the burn book.
Yes. And
Okay.
And our
boy,
first entry is boomers who went to watch 2005 Bewitched.
yes. Fuck you, boomers. Little
Yeah.
Raj, who I am wearing my Little Raj shirt from our gals at Roll Call, R.I.P. So Little Roger Ebert said that this film is better than you expect, but not as good as you hope.
That is a really fair assessment. Like, I think he's right on the money.
He had
Right.
his finger on the pulse on this one.
Yeah, because, like, you go in with no expectations to a movie called Ghost Ship, but then you're like, you leave and you're like, it had such an interesting premise and it just was all wrong.
It delivered. There was ghost. There was a ship.
Well, it just sounds dumber than it. Like it sounds
Yeah.
like it's going to be not taking itself seriously, like
Yeah.
the film does. It sounds like it's going to be a joke, and when you sit down and you watch it, you're like, okay, this movie, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Like I'm not gonna go and complain about this to anybody. Like
Yeah.
I
it doesn't.
am.
It doesn't do that. Like you're gonna forget you watched it.
Yes.
Like,
You're going to
not
remember the creepy kid and the opening scene, and that's it.
And that's the only
Yeah.
thing that matters. They said, let's open with our best scene.
Exactly.
And you're gonna stay and you're gonna watch it. And if you're young enough or high enough, you will watch this movie and feel like you watched something amazing because of
Yeah.
this first scene. It's like the perfect movie in that sense.
That should be
Yeah.
the tagline for this movie. If you're young enough or high enough.
If you're young enough or high enough, you are going to love that beginning. And there was nothing like it at the time. So
No.
it really does it does stay in your head, but that's the only part. Do you remember anything else about the ship and the ghost? No.
Nope.
You see that part, and that's it.
Well, before we get into the cast and crew, let's hear a quick message from one of our pod pals.
Sharks of the corn? Virus shark? Cocaine shark? Sharktopus? Yeah, Those are all real movies. Join me, Steve Coates, as each week I take a comedic look at the bizarre world of sharksploitation cinema on Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast.
Cast and crew. So I don't think I've gotten a chance to say this, but I love Gabriel Byrne. I love that man. Anything he's in, I'm usually going to watch it. I don't know what it is about him. And I know exactly when it happened. Little Women. That was when I was introduced to him. And then it was a love fest ever since. Hell, I even saw that movie about the devil with him in it because he was in it. What is that
Which
called?
one is that?
Stigmata.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. I always get him in every. I get that movie and
Days
I get them
confused.
confused. They're the
Yeah.
same people. All the people are it's the same movie.
It's the same. Oh, but Gabriel Byrne replaced Brian Cox, who backed out of the project to do The Ring. He made a smart decision.
Yeah.
Wait, who backed out again?
Brian
Wait,
Cox from
Brian.
Succession, the dad from
Listen,
Succession.
Brian Cox didn't drop out. Brian Cox probably just had some other opportunity come. He could have used the check at the time. He wouldn't have had to wait so long until Succession to have all these Emmys and stuff if he had did Ghost Ship. People would
He
have
did
remembered
The
him.
Ring instead. That's way better than Ghost Ship.
Nobody remembers him in that.
I don't. You're right.
No.
But at the end of the
Really
day,
don't.
he got his check, and nobody remembers Ghost Ship.
Eh,
I mean, between The Ring and when you think about it, who during Halloween horror season and people talk about horror movies, you're gonna hear The
Not a
Ring.
Not well. You're gonna hear that about The Ring, but I will say that Brian Cox and Ghost Ship it
I
might have
could've
got the extra half from Roger Ebert. It
I
may have been a thumbs up instead of the thumbs down. It's still a thumbs down.
I think as much as I love Gabriel Byrne, Brian Cox would have been really good in that role. Just
Yeah.
gritty, and he would have had way more curse words for sure.
I'm sure it would have been Oscar nominated. Yeah.
This movie is missing the cuss
Something.
words. I just feel like it would have given it something extra. I mean, it wouldn't have made it good, but
I think they should have thrown Samuel L. Jackson on that boat.
yes.
If
But-
they had put Samuel L. Jackson in it, it would have made like $20 million more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have gave them that little push they needed, we would still be talking about it.
Yeah.
There's
I
too many
mean-
motherfucking ghosts on this motherfucking ship.
There was no star power in this movie.
No.
I love Gabriel Byrne, like I said, but that's just a personal situation.
And
Now-
I do like Julianna Margulies in whatever she does. I don't mind her. Desmond Harrington was not on my radar at the time. He is
Right.
now because he was Quinn in Dexter. And so, that's just all I say. I was like, oh, it's Joey Quinn.
As soon as I saw Desmond, because now I know who he is, I said, that is who Chuck sold Blair to for a fucking hotel. And he's a slimy motherfucker. And so I knew he wasn't going to be good from the jump. But Julianna Margulies, I put her in the burn book, and I wrote,
Oh,
she
no.
is a cunt.
Oh,
And that's all I need to say. Just
Well,
look her up.
okay.
Julianna Margulies, it looks like, they copied and pasted her from every other thing she ever did. Like she looked like the same person. in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It's like we're watching ER.
Yes. And this
On a
was at
ship.
the height of ER. She was
Yes.
playing her character for sure.
Yeah, I love when actors do that. It's hilarious because it's like I know who you are, but I'm pretty sure you're just one character in my head and everything. Like they're the same hair, same outfit, same demeanor,
Yeah.
same way of speaking. I was like, this is the good wife.
Yeah. She may be a one-trick pony. Just saying, because I
Yeah.
think even on the morning show is no different. She's whatever. Anywho, I can't stand that lady. So it was very hard for me to watch this entire
So there were
movie.
no redeeming. Well, Gabriel Byrne.
And the guy from The Boys is in it.
Carl Urban.
And I gotta go back and look at the Isaiah Washington drama because I'm like, am I supposed to not like him? I can't remember.
He used the F word on the set of
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy in regards to TS. He actually called him the F word.
But here's where my confusion lies, because I know obviously that's wrong. I know he apologized for it. I don't know if is it TS? TR.
TR? I don't
TR Knight?
TR Knight, sorry. Yeah,
I don't
TR.
know if TR accepted his apology. I don't know what happened there. But I do know that Shonda Rhimes has a no asshole policy. Hence why Katherine Heigl has not been back at all on Grey's Anatomy. But she did have Isaiah come back when she was wrapping up Christina's character. So I was like, I do trust Shonda. So I wonder, like, did things get fixed? So I would like to know, as the audience, do you guys know anything about that? Like, what happened? Because she does not have people that, like, that pissed her off or are, like, horrible assholes back on her show. So was there redemption for him? I don't know.
It's probably because he was in that movie Blackbird with Monique with the son that was gay. It was a coming of age gay drama. I said, look at him doing work, and he was on P Valley. So like, he's like, I'm gonna work with gay people to show everybody.
And I'm not homophobic. Yeah. So I'm not, again, to clarify, I'm not hating on him. I'm not loving on him. I'm just asking, where are we as a collective with Isaiah Washington?
Does he go in the Byrne book or not?
Asking for a friend.
So the eerie little girl, Katie, the best actress in this whole movie, in my opinion, played by Emily Browning, was only 14 at the time of filming, but has left a lasting impression with her haunting performance. That is fair, because I only remembered the little girl in the slicing and dicing.
Well,
she has a pretty good career even to this day. She did something called Sleepy Beauty. But what's hilarious is I know her as, that little girl from this movie, because then a few years later she did that movie Darkness Falls.
Yes.
That's a movie no one really talks about that.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. Don't even know who's in it.
Her.
She was in that one with Jim Carrey, The Unfortunate Events, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Lemony Snickets. Yeah. Well, actress Francesca Retondini, I don't know. Sorry, messed it up. She did not speak English, which required the director, Steve Beck, to get a translator on set so that she could understand his commands.
You're singing and you get hit by a hook.
Take your bra off now.
Yeah.
Take the dress off now.
She was singing in Italian.
Let me see them titties. Like, just
I need side titty, front titty, nipple titty.
She did what she needed to do.
Yeah. But that's why she's not giving much dialogue, and why whatever lines she does have, they're just in Italian. I mean, the boat is supposed to be Italian origin, so it tracks. I had no problems with that. I didn't question it at all.
That's a piece of trivia that's hilarious, because it's like, who did that? Her? Like, who wrote it? like, just in case y'all wanted to know why I don't have any line, we didn't wonder at all.
You sang, you seduced, you died. That's
right.
All we need to know.
That's my life's mission. Sing, seduce, and die.
Sing, seduce, and swing. Julianna Margulies said in an interview that the movie had originally been written as a psychological thriller about what happens when you have too much of something. Money is evil, greed, and these two people start going crazy, which is why she agreed to do it. Then she got off the plane in Australia, and the script had been totally changed.
She lying. She lying.
She a damn lie.
She is lying. First off, you signed up for a Dark Castle horror movie at this time, okay? House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts. Girl,
Yeah.
where are you? Like, this is that kind of movie. And I know she lying. Let me tell you how I know she lying. I know
Cause
she
she
lying.
a fucking cunt.
I know she lying. When the script had been changed, girl, you was just trying to do a movie on your
Right.
like your hiatus from ER. Stop lying. It's
Right.
all right. I did Ghost Ship because it was fun and it gave me some good money. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
She
It doesn't
lying.
have to be that serious. Like,
Like she lying.
Well, she
Nobody would have
takes it-
hired you to be in the other version of Ghost Ship. You lying. You lying. This is the one that they would cast.
she has now gone on record to say she disowns this movie.
Nobody cares. You still in it. Like,
I love
And I
that.
bet she's still getting a check from it too.
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Burn
she
the
got a
check
check for
then.
my $7 I paid for this movie. So she also said, suddenly I was in a really awful horror movie and it was shocking, but it was too late to back out.
Whatever.
The theatrics.
Shut
Calm
up.
down.
Even Jennifer Aniston isn't saying that about Leprechaun. Like,
Yeah.
I signed up for it. I did it. I'm a little embarrassed, but I was in it. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I knew what I was
Everybody's
doing.
done it. Like Renee Zellweger's not talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 or whichever
Yeah.
one she was with Matthew McConaughey. Like everybody has to pay their dues. My favorite piece of drama is that producer Joel Silver offered the film to Rennie Harlan, who passed on the project, and it broke up their long friendship, and Silver vowed never to talk to Harlan again over fucking ghost shit. Sir,
Yep.
ain't nothing that
Absolutely.
serious.
Listen, this is the same Joel Silver that gave us Demon Knight. Okay. Like,
He takes
This
his
is-
movies seriously.
these are the same. This is from the producers of Demon Knight. So whatever makes you appreciate that one more, doesn't it? But like, yes, Joel Silver said, "Listen, I'm giving you an opportunity of a lifetime. You could direct ghost shit." No, I don't. What did Rennie Harlan do before? Cutthroat Island with Gina Davis. He ruined the studio. He was lucky he was given an opportunity.
That is so true, because wasn't he with Gina Davis at that time too? Like, weren't they dating?
I
Or
think so,
married?
which makes it even worse. Like,
I don't blame Gina at all. She was trying to do what she had to do. That was
Yeah.
all him.
that, yeah, and so, yeah, Joel Silver is right, Rennie. Like, you should have did it. Because who is Steve Beck?
I have no idea.
Exactly. We would have been talking about this every Halloween.
Steve Beck made one of the best
Oh,
horror
13
movies of our time frame, 13 Ghosts.
That's a lot, Jackie.
I
Starring
will
Rod Digger.
die. I will die on that hill that 13 Ghosts is a masterpiece.
It's
Okay.
indeed fun, and somebody like Tony Shalhoub won't just do anything.
Right.
But I don't know how Rod Digger got the part. Like, they was like, you know who we should get for this movie?
To
Rod
babysit.
Digger. Rod Digger. Like, out of all the female rappers, they didn't know, not Lil Kim, not even the
Queen
Lady of
Latifah.
Rage, not even the Lady of Rage. Let's get Rod Digger. Name a song by Rod Digger.
I can't. If it's not, it doesn't have Busta Rhymes in it.
Didn't
I'm
she
not
sing
hating on her.
the song at the end of 13 Ghosts?
Girl, I don't know. And we saw that we did that
We did.
movie, and I still don't know.
No,
All
that's
right.
the best. That's the best kind of casting, though. When you can get somebody and you're like, actually, I'm not hating on you. I just don't know how you got the part because
Yeah.
I don't know how they thought of you.
Like,
Like,
just walk us through the story of how you were cast. Like, I just want to ask that question to some of
Every
these guys.
rapper at that time was in a horror movie. Every one
That's
of them.
true.
It was crazy how many rappers were just randomly in a horror movie. They said we want more diversity, and they said, sure, we're not going to get real actors. We're just going to get rappers.
And then they can do the end credit song as well.
Oh, yeah.
right.
All right,
the
let's.
LL Cool J song in Deep Blue Sea.
Mhm.
My head is like
Oh.
a shark's fin. Yeah. hmm
All right, let's get into this movie.
Are you ready for it?
No.
So they start out, okay, I'm immediately confused because this looks like it's a facsimile of the Titanic to me. It's all fancy people in old-timey clothes, and there's an Italian lady singing on the deck. But then they say that it sunk in like 1962, that it or it went missing in 1962, and I'm like, the clothing does not match the timeline. So
I don't know.
already,
The clothes didn't look too like if I go back and it doesn't look that far off from the 60s. What era were you thinking their clothes were in?
like the 19 like 10s or 20s.
Oh. But I don't know. Apparently them having that like whatever the thing was like a normal thing that they did in that time period. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I just thought it was old.
That's
I
all
didn't.
you needed to get.
Yeah.
I was
don't
thinking
know.
This is a period a
too-
long time ago.
Yeah.
I was thinking too much. So we see everyone's dancing on deck, having a great time, and then all of a sudden this wire, like, it seems to just malfunction, and it goes across the deck, and everyone is sliced in half, and it's so fun to watch everyone's body parts slide apart, and I loved it so much.
Jackie, we definitely have different ideas of fun. I did think it was a great scene. Like,
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is okay. I underestimated Ghost Ship. I didn't. That was the best scene.
Yes, you did. You didn't think that was going to be the beginning.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to start even worse than it did. It just went downhill from there, but that's all right.
I thought we were gonna get into a mystery, like who set up the string to kill all those people, and how tall was the cruise director?
Why everybody else gets sliced in half and
Right.
it's just in his mouth? I've thought that since 2002.
Because like
Not,
I
and
thought
I've
maybe it
decided
was
that it doesn't.
because he was like hunching over a bit to like dance with the little girl. I don't know. But the little girl's the only one left alive.
She also didn't seem that small. Why is she still
thank
alive?
you.
Why
Thank
go over
you.
her? She ain't that little.
No, she wasn't, and so I was like, how did she not get cut in half?
Because
Because
it's like, no, they cast a 14-year-old to play like 6.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I mean, because like, nah, at least she would have been scalped in real life. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how does she die? Because everyone in the boat wasn't killed. The people, do they explain that? And I missed it because I was going in.
Everyone was eventually killed except for one person.
Who's the one person? Not the girl? How'd the girl die?
That I don't know. I'm assuming like she was on a ship by
starved to death.
herself. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't know if I
really
didn't know
bad.
if I missed that, but I guess
Yeah.
it makes sense that they wouldn't have like time to show how a child dies in
Yeah.
a movie. So I guess I should appreciate that.
Well, and the movie wants you to believe she's the bad guy for some of it, so it's like she's the one doing the shit at first.
They don't do a good job with that because she's like, I know we talk, she's a little bit creepy, but not really. I don't think they did a good job of like making her scary enough to make it seem like it was her.
She's just sad.
She was just a glowing little girl. Like,
Yeah.
she just has a little light shining on her, looking
That's
like
true.
Morticia. Yeah, that was it. Like, I think, yeah, I mean, I think part of it, and this is me creating my own story to make sense of it. I think some of it is though that like she witnessed everything and was not killed in the same way and essentially suffered the most. So that is kind of why you see her, because she is representative, like, I know what happened and I experienced it and I suffered because of this. And I mean, the movie ain't that deep, but it's still like,
Right.
she starved to death. She died of dehydration and she became a skeleton eventually. Like, that was it.
After the opening scene, we're introduced to the salvagers, which is just this group of people, and they're hired to go and reclaim wreckage or whatever it is from the ocean. So we have and they just are on a little tugboat, and they are Murphy, Epps, Dodge, Munder, Greer, and Santos are the crew.
I think in the beginning I had a lot of hope. Like I was like, oh, this, because the tone did feel like 13 Ghosts. Visually it was a very visually appealing movie. So in the beginning I was like, oh, I underestimated this. I thought this was gonna be like from the beginning. That good shot of all the killing. Then you see this new cast. They're about their business on the boats. I was like, all right.
And then we get this guy, Jack Ferriman, that shows up and he's like, hey, he's a pilot. So he's like, I'm flying around doing pilot shit. And I saw this ship come on my radar. If it's this lost ship, then it's worth a lot of money if you guys want to go out and like tow it back. And they're like, there's a little bit of infighting. Like, we don't want to do that.
I just feel like they should have been suspicious off the bat. That's real creepy. Like, how did you find us? How did you find this fucking boat? It's real weird.
Well, first off, there's a lot of movies. This is just like Alien on water. There's always these movies about these like random crews, and you don't know what the hell they do or like what their actual job is, but they just around somewhere in the middle of nowhere finding things and doing things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they always have weird names like that. Mulder, kind of like X-Files. There's always somebody in brown face, because the actor is never Latino. But they're playing
Yes.
Latino with the Santos. This is just what's the name from Aliens? Vasquez. Like, this is the same thing. And I think that was the thing that like took me out immediately, because I remember like watching this. I'm like, okay, I'm here because I didn't care about nothing when I was younger. You know what I liked? I liked the first scene, and I just kept my eyes open for the rest of it. But
that's a great review.
And seeing it now, I'm like, wow, what a time where they really did just take an actor that is of Greek origin, put a little bit of some dark makeup, and make him say like he's the one that curses the most.
Yes.
And he's the Latino character. You know what I mean? That threw me off. I didn't like that.
Yeah, they were like, oh, they say we can't kill the black character off first this time around. Okay, let's do some brown face on this Mediterranean man.
Yeah.
And kill him first.
Yeah, and I mean, all the actors are Australian-based actors because they filmed the movie. Like, so it's a TV network procedural cast.
Right.
I don't even know where I'm going with this. Ghost Ship is strange. Like, I tried to watch this movie. I tried to snap into it. I'm like, I don't know what y'all are doing. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand why you're on this. I understand y'all want to get these, like, mysteriously light gold bars.
Yes.
But I don't understand why.
Right. And they didn't even know the gold was there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they thought. I think they were like gonna get salvage parts. Like, I still don't understand what they do. Are they pirates?
Was it like because the ship was missing for so long, someone had said like, we'll give a reward of X amount of money if someone can find the ship, and so they're like, okay, we found the ship. That's what I assumed.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. They just didn't say that.
We're having to put a lot of thought into a movie that should be mindless entertainment.
And they found it accidentally. Like, they just like banged into it. How you didn't see that big ship?
Right.
Well, because the captain boat driver man was too busy jamming out to his tunes. Like, he was distracted by the rocking he was doing.
Absolutely. He is also a representation of that character that is in control and does not do anything. That is a terrible horror movie trope. It is the same thing as, and then there's always this character that's like not with everybody else and is doing their own thing. Like Homegirl in Deep Blue Sea, when she was she was there to just get blown up and die. Yes, and
Yeah.
and they see something, they tell people nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, a ghost ship.
So now we're on the ghost ship. They realize there's a hole in the hull that needs to be welded. Good thing that there's a welder on board that can do that. So, who is, I don't even remember. It doesn't matter which character that is. And so they go and just start exploring the ship. But they immediately split off into like they don't even buddy up. They just wander off into this ship that has been deserted for God knows how long. And you don't know what has happened to it.
Yeah, and you know how they always explain it. It says let's split up so we can cover more ground that way. That's like the line from everything. And they don't even say that. I was actually watching this with somebody, and they were like, why did they split up again? Like, why are they not all together?
Also, I love how they're like, now it's ours under the law of the sea. Is the law of the sea a thing?
King Triton laid it down decades ago.
Because
I
it's in
don't know.
international waters, it doesn't belong to anyone. Like, it belonged to someone before. Like, wouldn't they retain rights to it if it was found?
Yes, but then they find the gold and they're like, "Oh, we
Well,
can't touch it
yes.
because there's got to be an insurance policy on it." So now they're concerned about what could be owned and not
Yeah.
owned by them. I don't know.
And
So what's her face? She does another trope that I can't stand is like randomly falling and shit or a lot. Where she in some swimming pool or something. Did the ghost push her
sucked her
or
blood.
I was like, what is this?
Well, that's Julianna Margulies for you. Let her tell it. Let her tell it. They added that in right before she arrived.
There was no swimming pool in the original script.
I was not going to be falling down at all.
Oh boy.
Let her tell it.
Her character, Epps, does see Katie, the little girl ghost, and initially just brushes it off like, that was interesting. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not going to be freaked out and just go back to my tugboat where it's safe. I'm going to continue to explore this creepy, rotting ship in the middle of the ocean.
Wonderful. And take us all for a ride at the same time.
Yes. The swimming pool does weird things. First off, it's full of bullet holes. And when Epps falls into it, she like hits her head and is bleeding, but that's never addressed again. But the swimming pool sucks the puddle of blood into one of the bullet holes, but then it starts weeping blood out of all the bullet holes.
It's that Evil Dead shit. You know what I'm talking about? When a little bit of blood gets into something and it seeps in, I'm like, that's how I rationalize it. That makes sense in my mind because I've seen other things.
Yeah.
Was it explained? No. Did it need to be explained? Not necessarily. But why? Why specifically the pool?
Yes. And I was fully expecting the crew to turn around after they found Epps and the pool be completely filled with blood, and that's how they know like shit's wrong.
Right, they didn't look at all.
Well, and we didn't get that. We didn't get a payout. Where is my pool full of blood? Like, I want to see it.
Well, they didn't have any money to do that. It had a $20 million budget.
That's true.
So I'm pretty sure they were like, this is an effect. We're going to use some digital fake blood. And that's all we can do with this one scene.
We get drips.
No right.
So after this scene is when they find the gold bars, and that's when they're like, holy shit, we hit the mother lode. And now we really can't call the Coast Guard or anyone because we have to tow it in ourselves so that we can keep all the gold is the plan.
Hey, I'm all for discovery and the thievery of it all. Like, I get that. Was that possible?
Yeah, you're just, first off, you have a tugboat, which I know tugboats tow large ships, but it's usually the ships are running some kind of engine.
Right. And they found out that the engine wasn't working.
Yeah.
And one of the people, I don't even know what his name, was responsible for making it work. So what's the captain, he was just barking orders at everybody. And he was definitely Tim Gunning that shit, talking about make it work, even though they didn't have any of the resources or tools to do so. Yeah. We do learn that, what is his name? Greer, Isaiah Washington's character, is going to be getting married. And there are some digs at him in certain parts where it's like, are you really going to get married? Or stuff like that. And at first I was like, damn, why are they getting on him like that? But then when he started hallucinating and having a fake sexual relationship with a dead person, I was like, oh,
I get it.
Something else. This dude ain't loyal.
Mm-mm.
All right. That was a really crazy looking lady in the picture. I don't know why they. Did you notice the lady in the picture that was his fiance? Because I was like, she doesn't look like they took some woman and put like a hilarious wig on her. like they couldn't just find a normal picture. No, it's like some fake model like picture in a really old timey dress. It did not. I was so confused.
It was like very much like Buzz, your girlfriend, woof. Like,
yes. It was like, I think they're trying to make a point here by having this woman as the picture, but they don't address that. Maybe they didn't believe he was going to marry her because of the lady in the picture. There got to be a deleted scene. Like, what are you talking about? No, I'm genuinely like, why isn't this just like some random, and you know how they like to do in these movies, why isn't it some random biracial lady with some spirally hair? Like, what are y'all trying? You know how these... So like, what is this?
That was my thought the whole movie with so many things. And at one point I just said, I just gotta get through it.
Now I want to go and see if there are any deleted scenes like on YouTube or anything. Because now I'm interested. Is it gonna confuse me more? Is it gonna fill in the gaps?
It won't answer a damn question.
I have the DVD, and I remember there are deleted scenes. I don't remember what they were exactly, but there were some like. This movie came out at the height of like DVD, right? So basically, it got a special treatment that it would probably have never gotten any other time, right? And so like, yeah, they go into depth. They actually show how they did all this prosthetic work for that opening scene, which is really exciting. But I recall that there were some deleted scenes that did not make the. Clearly, they were cut because they didn't serve a purpose. This is one of those films, but this is one of those movies where it's like they filmed 500 million hours of like footage of like varying different things, and then they figured out what works that they should put together. And so there is something about this movie that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Because they weren't necessarily trying to. They were just like,
we're gonna throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, and we're gonna just have this movie be as exciting as it can be with what we have. We are working with Julianna Margulies here.
This is very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now people start dying. The tugboat explodes, kills Santos. That is now haunting the captain, Murphy, because he feels guilt over Santos dying.
As he should.
Greer tries to fuck a dead woman. We see her boobies. And as he's going to like put his dick in her, she disappears and he just falls.
I'm just glad it wasn't Bones. Because, sir, you even said it. You even said, well, it's not really cheating on my wife because she did. Bitch! What are we doing right now?
And while that does make sense, logically, I guess, that says a lot about you as a person.
Yes.
It's better that she did. You feel good about the fact that you're sleeping with a dead woman right now. You would feel worse if she was alive.
Yeah. Just like, who makes this shit up? Like, I don't want to man bash, but come on, sir. Why?
Somebody has to do something dumb for the movie to work. The problem is, would it be the black guy?
Hey, I don't know.
I feel like because here's the thing: once a tugboat explodes, now we got to be on this creepy ship, and we actually have to sit on it and be on it. Which, I mean, hey, they had to do something to get all of these people to have to like stay contained on this ship, so the horrific things could happen. Most people would probably just, drown. They would not go on that ship after multiple people have already witnessed horrific things.
Right.
Then there's this black guy character who sees a ghost who shows her titties, and he is like, yes, 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 I will.
I just they're all hallucinating, I guess. Because what's her face is seeing the little girl and she's going through a history museum. I don't fucking know what's going on there. And then Mulder and Scully, I don't know. The dudes are going to town on these cans of beans. I don't fucking know what that is. And my thought process was, that shit is way expired.
And the way they're just like, these are really good beans.
I'm like, what the hell?
They were starving that much before. Like, without the horrific things happening. They were starving that much that they needed to eat cans of beans like that. They was really struggling. They should have not been on they shouldn't have been on the sea in the first place. That's something that could have been explained a little bit more in theory though, right? Because it's like,
right.
I understand if y'all are desperate and y'all want to get this money, but like, why are they willing to? Because it was a very Scooby-Doo like Shaggy scene too. Like they were sitting there and they were just eating like the beans, and like they're just surrounded by all these cans, and you can't tell me it wasn't inspired by Scooby-Doo. Like this movie was a series of vignettes with like all these characters just doing their own thing, which I guess is very similar because like if you remember that this is Ghost House Pictures and like the whole Joel Silver, Robert Zemeckis thing, before that they were doing things like Demon Knight. And that movie had a very similar energy of people are all over the place doing their own thing and having their own hallucinations and experiences.
Yes.
Right.
People are getting served arms on on platters. People are getting drinks, and this is all to like bring them closer to the darkness. That made sense because they explained that.
This, not so much.
This is like Demon Knight without the demons or the backstory.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. Like, even with Steve Beck, when you think about 13 Ghosts, one of the things we talked about was that 13 Ghosts they took meticulous time to craft backstories for every ghost, but never paid it off essentially in the movie, which was tragic. Like, so much work. Any questions you had about 13 Ghosts, you could find an answer because they wrote it. They made everything. While we get this shit, and it's like, oh, we don't know. We don't know. And when you talk about Scooby-Doo, I'm glad you brought it up because originally they wanted to film on a real ship, but they realized it was going to be far too limiting. Like, they wouldn't be able to have the materials and
Equipment
everything
and
they
stuff.
needed.
Yeah.
Right. So instead, they actually used visual effects. It was an Australian visual effects company called Photon VFX, who previously worked on the 2002 film Scooby-Doo.
There
you
it
never
is.
know.
You could see
He could have said, by the way, when I was on Scooby-Doo.
I'm sure there's things like that, and that's what makes movies kind of interesting and fun because like these kind of movies are fun when you know more about what it takes to make it,
Mm-hmm.
because you realize that like besides Julianna Margulies, everybody probably had a good time making this movie because everybody knew what they was making except for Julianna
Yes.
Margulies. And I think for me, well, first off, it's funny because like I knew it was like you could tell they're not filming on a real ship, but not because like the ship is so big and vast. When you go on it, it's this little tiny like I was like you could tell it's like these little small
Sad.
sets that they're
Yeah.
filming on, and they're not. It didn't even look like the ship at the beginning of the movie, which by the way, the ship at the beginning of the movie looks like a cruise ship at like a regular like Carnival cruise ship
Mhm.
where they're on the top just dancing. That's it. I was like, it wasn't given top-notch luxury liner.
Yeah.
It was very much giving Carnival cruise with some suits. So maybe like that's part of what it is too. Maybe you were assuming that it was gonna be Titanic. When really
Yes.
this really was
Budget.
the budget Titanic.
Right.
I don't know. This movie is not it's also just, it's not scary. That's the
No.
thing. It's
And
not scary.
and part of it is because we never feel the fear or urgency from the characters. They're just
No.
all very just like, okay, I guess we're eating beans now. Like, there's no sense of like, I'm gonna find a lifeboat and get the fuck off this ship and carry but a couple of gold bars with me. Like, there's none of what Jackie would be thinking about if she was stuck on a scary ass ship. Like,
No, I
nothing.
mean, well, like name a horror movie where characters are just sitting there at some point chilling. Because that's what's happening when they're eating the beans. When you
Yeah.
take, like, yes, there's this funny moment of them eating the beans, and then this horrific thing happens where it's
They're
maggots or something
maggots.
like that. But who, why would we have a scene where we essentially bring the energy and the tension down by
Yeah.
having these characters just sitting here eating something? It's like, it's dumb because the beans are rotten.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it being no damn ghost ship
No.
or no people being missing and dead. It's the fact that you're eating beans from 1962.
And why were the rats still alive? What could they
Where they come
possibly
from? Did they just have rats and they just kept reproducing since 1962? Where the rats came from? But I love the fact that like something is moving. I say it's probably some rats. I just knew it was rats. It's that kind of movie. It's rats are gonna come up.
I had that same question. Like, this is an abandoned ship. That wasn't the first thing they thought of. Like, if this isn't a ship that's been abandoned since 1962, why are there alive and well rats in this case? Like,
Right. And why are there cans of beans that we decide we want to try to eat?
yeah.
Like, were they all hallucinating? So I'm guessing that's what it, like, okay, yes, I understand you're hallucinating, but I would hallucinate a feast and be like, oh, there's a feast and not question it and then eat it and then it's
Yeah.
worms, but not fucking beans. I will die on this
Right.
hill.
Like what you eat, you would never eat. In the worst case scenario, you probably wouldn't eat those beans just
Yeah.
because they're old.
It like you're gonna imagine like the Lost Boys feast in Hook.
Right,
Like, you're
right.
not gonna imagine
Beans.
rusty old cans of canned goods from 1962.
No, you'd be scared you're gonna get lead
Ugh.
poisoning.
Yeah.
But
So I don't know. They're eating beans. They find gold. Captain's still upset. He fucking the dead girl. It's just
And Epps is making friends with the girl ghost, the little girl ghost, and then pulls a locket off a dead body and decides to wear it because that seems
I
like a choice.
I thought at some point they were gonna say that the reason she was brought to this boat is because they're her ancestors or some shit. Because like I don't understand. What is the connection here? Is it because
there
she's the
isn't
only
any.
woman? She's got to be the mother figure to the little girl? Like,
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
oh
It's just playing
God.
into that. It is that Ripley Newt trope from Aliens.
Yeah.
This is
Mm.
basically Aliens in so many ways. Like you got the Vasquez brown face character, and you got a mother daughter bond that has no real place in the movie at all. But she has to connect to her. Somebody has to connect to her. And I think that's the thing too. Like anytime you watch a film, I hate this in horror films. Whenever it's a crew of people and they only have one woman, and that woman ends up being the viewer's eyes, which is great, right? But then it's like she wouldn't want to be there. Like she wouldn't feel safe in this situation with all of these men. Like there's something like we're meant like the woman is a vulnerable character, but then at the same time they never actually make her vulnerable. They never show it. That's why I appreciate something like The Silence of the Lambs, because even when they don't say it, it's implied that Clarice is experiencing a very male dominated world as a woman, and how is that affecting her work and what she wants to prove, and that is what is her motivation. This is just like, let's just have one woman because we can. Like I don't like where are the women in this movie? Like why wouldn't there be two at least?
100% agree that they over like masculine I don't know what the word masculine, make her extra masculine, Jesus, to kind of like in the beginning they soften her up a little bit when the child comes, and then again in that environment she's hinted at being in some sort of relationship with the guy Dodge, which again unnecessary, didn't need it, didn't add to the plot, didn't care for it. Don't care. And out of all the men on that boat, they just
wanted you to know that they had lives, which didn't. They clearly didn't care about their lives because they weren't running trying to get back to them.
Right. And Dodge is played by that's his name, Dodge?
Yes.
And Dodge is played by Ron Eldard. So him and Julianna Margulies were a couple in real life. They also played a couple on ER. So they dated from 91 to 2003. So now I'm going to put Ron's name in the book, because I truly believe that if you're trash and the person you're dating has to be trash, it's A plus B equals C.
Well, that brings up some very interesting questions, doesn't it? Like, first off, well, did Ron know, Julianna, what y'all was doing? Like, did he not tell you? Like, was y'all both surprised? And is this movie why y'all broke up?
Because he was having the time of his life, and she was like, "Fuck this shit."
And he was like, "Calm down. You already got a good job on ER."
Yeah,
like,
right.
He's like, "Nobody knows who I am. One day they're gonna be talking about this movie on a podcast, and they're gonna know who you are, and I'm gonna be the afterthought. So let me enjoy this moment." And I think for me, like Ghost Ship, I do like movies with these kind of casts. I do think they're fun. There's something kind of exciting about seeing Julianna Margulies not on a TV show. It's something kind of cool about seeing this group of people that never should do a movie together ever again, and never thought they would like put together. I do like that. It's something very like a motley crew of people as a cast. The problem is these movies do these motley crew casts, and then they try to make this motley crew make sense within the context of this movie, and it doesn't. There is no reason why Julianna Margulies is on a ship with these people. I wish she died in the movie. Like,
yes. I was rooting for it. Yes. That would have really brought it home for me.
It would have been so good if Julianna Margulies died. You know, it would have really gave us something we couldn't have expected. You know,
this would have gone higher in my book. Yeah. And I honestly can't even tell you how all these people die. I when I tell you my soul left my body at one point during this movie trying to get through it. Same. I don't know how they all died. I just know at some point I was at the end of the movie and it looked like everyone else was dead except for Dodge
and Epps and Fairman,
who we find out is a spirit taker.
Well,
or a soul snatcher.
So the ghost captain goes to Murphy, the captain of the tugboat, and is like something about there was another ship called the Lorelei, and there was only And he was like, there's no survivors. And the ghost captain's like, there's one survivor. And then somehow Murphy ends up in a tank with a picture of Ferriman from the Lorelei. I'm like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, they done killed my boo Gabriel. Damn, damn, damn.
But does he ever live in anything?
He lived in. Did he die in Stigmata?
I don't remember.
He lived in Little Woman. I know that. He lived in Little Women.
So the end of the movie goes very rapidly because we get the flashback of like the whole scenario of that night when everyone was sliced in half. And essentially it was this group of guys that went through and killed everyone with guns and wires and rat poison. And then they go and they get all the gold bars. And then Singer Lady pops out and she's like, oh, very good. And she has like her main henchman kill all of the rest of the gang.
People.
And then Quinn walks in and is like, oh, awesome job. Makes out with her for a few minutes. And then like hooks her in the face and kills her too. I'm like, how many levels do we need to go through to find out that Ferriman is the killer? Like,
why does he live so long? He's supernatural?
So this is the part I did understand, and it still doesn't make any goddamn sense. So essentially, he says, here, let me find my notes because I wrote down exactly what he said. He said, he's a salvager just like you. He collects souls after a life of sin. This is the job he was assigned. And then he's like, I have to collect so many souls. But like, we don't find out what happens when he collects all those souls. Like, is his debt repaid and he gets to like apparate to heaven? Where are these souls going? They just get held in the ship? How many souls does he have to collect? I have so many questions instead of answers. And it's the end of the movie.
Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon.
I don't have any questions. I want to never remember any of this. So
you won't remember.
No, you'll remember the opening scene and the little girl, and that you hate Julianna Margulies.
And you're probably gonna be like, I don't think it was that bad. That's this kind of movie. You'll never say this movie is bad. You know why? Because the way you're supposed to watch it is by turning it on, being like, ooh, look, ritzy, dazzly. Like, I love a movie that uses an old school logo.
Yeah,
I did love the pink logo.
Like, oh, okay, I'm here for this. Senza fine, all of that. And then they die, and that's when the movie's over. Like, you don't have to turn it off. You're just supposed to do other things in your house. Like, just, fold some clothes, go get a snack, use the bathroom, don't pause it.
Yeah.
Come back, be like, ooh, look, titties. And then, like, leave again, be like, look at that little girl, she creepy. And then, that's it. Like, this is the perfect example of a movie that is not good because nothing stands out. Like, it's bad because you can't say it's bad, really. That's the thing. Like, you don't even hate it. You just know that you're not supposed to be paying attention to it. Like, you realize it's like, damn, am I supposed to only give this movie half my brain? Because it seemed like everybody who was involved did that.
I feel like it would make more sense if you were only half paying attention. Like, if I'm just sitting on the couch doing my strands and my connections and just like half listening to it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, collecting souls, cool. I liked that band. And then like movie's over and I was like, okay, everyone got sliced and diced at the beginning. That was cool. And I move on with my life.
I have a totally guys. I was half watching and I still hate it. I will remember that I hate it. I will not forget this was bad.
I promise you, you will forget. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you thinking about it because you got to do a podcast and you talking about it and everything. You sat down to watch it. I'm telling you, you're going to forget you ever even saw this movie.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears.
You may watch it again and be like, I don't think I've seen it. Like, I remember the beginning. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna.
So what you're telling me is this is the equivalent like of Groundhog's Day.
Yes.
Like, it's just gonna haunt me forever. That is a scary movie then.
No, that's exactly what this movie is. It will always come back to you. Because I know so many people, I've mentioned this movie to them, like just in passing or whatever, and they'll say something like, yeah, I really like it. I like that movie. And I think a lot of people have fond memories of this movie because to them, that opening scene really is the movie.
Yeah.
And they forgot everything else and they didn't fully pay attention to it. So I don't think that's the thing about Ghost Ship. I don't think it has haters. I think most movies have haters. Something like Ghost Ship, it does not have haters. It has, from what I remember, it was cool.
It just kind of floats like a little ghost ship in your mind and is kind of there and you're kind of like, oh yeah, slicing people up. And then it just floats away.
Because you can't hate that opening scene. That's the thing. Everyone loves that. Everybody loves it. They appreciate it. They appreciate the craftsmanship of it. But like just the film as a whole, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
At all. I don't even remember what I saw and I just watched it.
If Ghost Ship has 0 haters, I am dead. That's all I had to say. I do remember the end. I remember some of the end. I know like she finds out that what's his face is evil, and she's trying to tell Dodger like keep an eye on him. She gives him the gun because she has decided she's got to blow the fucking ship up because it can't have any more souls. And then we learn that what's his face, his soul can jump into, or he can jump into other people's bodies because now he's in Dodger.
Yeah.
Or Dodge or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? So now we're like 2 seconds left in the game. We're trying to throw touchdowns.
This is a visual movie. This is a movie you're supposed to look at. You ain't supposed to really take it in.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and then I was very confused because she ends up throwing the like little charge thing like in the water, like it hits the water and blows up the ship. And I'm like, is that how that works? I thought you had to like hit a button. I don't understand how like that made an explosion. I was very confused even about blowing up the ship, which should have been.
It was the water pressure. It was the water pressure.
And then
the button hit face down. And so
the water is very powerful.
And then she's floating on a door like Rose. Well, not a door, but she's floating on something like Rose in the Titanic.
Well, the little girl shows her the way out because she has fully come to like the resolution that like if she dies blowing up the ship, good, whatever, I don't care. But then the little girl underwater, as a thank you for releasing her soul, like guides her to the surface. And then she's floating on a crate full of gold, question mark?
Because wouldn't it have sunk? I don't know, but I don't know much. I don't know much, but I feel like gold's pretty heavy.
I would come to the same conclusion.
So then a cruise ship sees her, picks her up, takes her back to port. She all fucked up in the face because she got sunburn and shit. They put her in the back of an ambulance, and as she's laying there, she sees all of the bellboys from the ship carrying gold onto this new ship.
Yeah.
And then she gets up. No! And I love that they close the doors on her as she's screaming. Like, no one asked, like, you okay? You in pain? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, and we did miss that as the ghost ship is sinking, all of the little souls are floating up to heaven. released from their ghost shipping nightmare. And that is Ghost Ship.
Praise. I've never been happier. Never.
It was, you know, movies like Ghost Ship exist to remind us why we watch movies that are good.
You after this one, I don't know. I might have to look at what movie you pick next because I can't do it. I can't do it.
We just need a palate cleanser.
Let me tell you something. I put some very good films on the most recent, but I say that, you know, I didn't remember like Ghost Ship as a film at all, to be honest with you. I think I said it because it really does. It is one of those movies that if you go 5, 10, 15 years without seeing it, you're not going to remember anything from it. And so that's the first thing that pops in your head is like that first scene. And so then you want to revisit it and you revisit it and you realize like you have to revisit it from that same frame of mind and point of view of like how you watched it initially, which is I was expecting nothing from it. I think that was the thing. Like when Roger Ebert says something like it's better than you expect, in some ways that's because you don't expect anything at all. And when you expect nothing and you go in with no expectations and you get a great scene like that at the beginning, because you could never expect that in a movie, especially because if the movie's called Ghost Ship, you're expecting like some like booze and ghosts. You're not expecting like people to get sliced and diced in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so because that stands out and it makes the film like just something you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Right.
You keep that in your mind and you just accept it for what it is on this like dumb like ride. Then you go back and you revisit it. It's harder to like accept it, because I was watching with somebody and he said something like, he was asking questions like, what is that? Why would that's not realistic? He was saying things like that. And he was like, I didn't ask questions like this when I watched it the first time years ago. He was like, I genuinely didn't ask these questions. And he's like, maybe it's because I'm better at watching films now and breaking them down.
Yeah.
But in some ways, it's also because watching this movie with the intention of being like, I have to watch Ghost Ship is so different than just stumbling on Ghost Ship or not having any other options. Or, you know,
I've already seen Jackass in the theater. I guess we're going to Ghost Ship this week.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
I do really love the scene that you've chosen as your background, Anwar, where she's sliced in half and she's trying to get her hips back over to her. Like those little details in that scene, that's what makes that scene so amazing, is just everyone falls apart and then it's like a hand that's still like grabbing onto something and then the lady trying to put herself back together before she bleeds out. It's so brilliant. And then we get crap.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing.
It's Julianna's fault.
There we go. We will blame her.
Let's see if there's any other fun facts that we missed. The ghost captain was portrayed by a real life ship captain, Dougie O'Halloran. Sounds about right. He consulted on the film for authenticity. Did he? Did you, Dougie? What'd you have?
Well, I mean, they didn't really deal with ships anyway, so it's kind of like, yeah, fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Like tugboats pull things and like. Yeah,
I mean, the ghost ship did not rock once. Like you would think at least one little like, oh, I stumbled because we're on the fucking ocean. No.
No, it was like they were filming in a studio. I think you forget. I mean, you actually can watch Ghost Ship and forget that it's a ship. For most of the movie.
We could have been Ghost Hotel.
Yeah.
Ghost Resort. The set for the haunted ballroom scene took weeks to build and was considered one of the largest practical sets used in early 2000s horror films.
And poor little Emily Browning, just to make sure she wasn't traumatized, because like we said, she was 14, they made sure she was present to watch all the special effects makeup in its process, especially like the severed torsos for the opening scene, so that she would be cool. So it's good, I guess. Yep.
Yeah.
That was very considerate and thoughtful. For that.
I think that
wasn't very thoughtful or considerate at all. Like
Mm.
that scene, they put a lot of work into that scene.
They
Like
did.
Yeah.
it's and like you were saying, like the details of it. That's what makes it work, right?
Right.
So good.
They didn't put details like that into the scenes in the movie.
No.
Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like I feel like they knew that too. They were like, let's put this at the beginning and make sure that we just do as good as we can. Because whatever we shot with Julianna ain't about to make this a hit. And
Oh,
that's the best scene in the movie because none of the actors is in it.
right.
This is true.
Facts.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm.
All right, Anwar, tell everybody where they can find you on social.
You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at the Anwar Ali and WARALI.
And you guys can find us at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And let's get into our present day ratings. Anwar, what's your rating for?
How we feeling?
Yeah, Ghost Ship 2024.
I'm not gonna say that it's. How would I put this? I'm not gonna say you should never watch it ever. I think you should definitely see that scene, but I would say it's a 2-day rental. It's nothing to write home about, and not just that it's nothing to write home about. If you watch it, there's nothing there. like it's hard to say it's trash because it's not bad enough to be trash. It's not good or bad. It just exists. They turn some cameras on and film some stuff, and that's cool. I appreciate them doing that. And they didn't spend that much money on it. So it's a 2-day rental. Get it. Watch it once, watch it a second time, realize you didn't really like it that much, return it, forget about it. 10 years later, get it for another 2-day rental. Yeah.
Very fair.
Jackie?
Unfortunately, I did buy it only because of lack of options of viewing. But if it was just the opening scene, I'd watch it every day. Sure. Put it on. Let me see these people die again. Unfortunately, it's not just the opening scene. There's a bunch of gibberish after it. So I will as well say a 2-day rental because I will pop it in every once in a while and probably just watch the first chapter.
I'm going to give it a 2-day. Hear me out.
Listening.
Will I watch this movie again? God, I hope not. Is it as bad as Killjoy? It is not. 2-day rental.
Fair.
That's it.
But the thing is, you remember Killjoy.
It's true.
You keep comparing things to Killjoy, which means you remember Killjoy. What do you remember about Ghost Ship? You just saw it. What do you remember? Exactly.
Gold can float.
You can quote lines from Killjoy.
Well, if you have an opinion about Ghost Ship, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the threads, and you could be featured on a future episode.
And join us next week as we celebrate another spooky gem, The Faculty.
I am really looking forward to that one. I say that almost every episode, but The Faculty is my jam. Anywho, Anwar, it was a pleasure as always. You are welcome back anytime. Danielle may pick the movie next time, though.
No, I will. Look, your picks are wide, vast, and unhinged, and that is what this podcast is. So I just have to prepare myself to be educated on these movies.
Yeah, and if we do something very strange next time, it can at least be in a different genre. You know what I mean? Let's see how unhinged I am with comedies and dramas too. Young family films. Yeah.
And as always, be kind and rewind.